Hi everybody, welcome back to the second instalment. I don't think that camera's very good, is it? I'll try again. I don't think that's really improving it, is it? Oh. Well, welcome back everyone. Second instalment on the R129, the Mercedes SL500 that, as I said in the first video, I bought because I love the SLs. I particularly love the 107 series, but too expensive. So bought an R129, and it's been an interesting experience shopping around for bits and pieces to bring it up to standard. Most notably the wheels. The wheels on this one, 16-inch standard wheels, the ones with the 8 holes around them, quite badly gutter rashed and marked, and they cost about $250 to bring up, per wheel to get them refurbished. So I was looking at some of the aftermarket wheels, such as the AMG hammer style wheels, and a couple have come up, but they sell virtually instantaneously. And so I think interest in the R129 series is pretty high at the moment. Those wheels got $1,500, and they needed refurbishing themselves, so that's probably a $2,500 purchase. I did actually buy some wheels. I bought them in Japan. I'm not sure why I do that, but anyway, I bought them in Japan. They're a Ronal wheel, so a good German original OEM type wheel that were a Brabus for one of the Brabus modifications, and I think I paid about $2,000 effectively delivered in Australia, so not by any stretch cheap, but a good sort of period look, and the offsets maybe about 4mm further pushed out, so I think they should look pretty good. Anyway, I bought those. I am looking for other sort of the factory original, the 18-inch the 18-inch wheels that were on the SL500s, but I'm told that they're virtually getting $6,000 for a set of wheels at the moment. So anyway, I get the feeling that the R129 SL500 is going to do very well. A lot of interest in them at the moment, and certainly everywhere I've been with this one, people like it. As you'd be aware from the first video, the next step for me was to send it into the service centre and get the guys to look at the bits and pieces that I knew needed fixing. The number one problem on why I got it a little cheap was that the engine was making a horrible tappity noise, tap, 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 tick, tick, tick sort of noise from the top of the head. That's a very common fault, evidently. I spoke to the guy, he said, I'm 99% sure it'll be these U-shaped tubes that sit and feed oil essentially to the top of the heads, and sure enough, that was the case. We paid $400 for 8 of them to do one side. There's obviously 2 per cylinder, and he put it all back together, and it was still making that noise. He had one left, and he changed one on the other side, so he had to take the whole bloody the rock cover off, redo the whole thing, and just change one of them and solve it. So that was very good. But the other trick was this thing's got the ADS suspension, whatever that stands for, but it's that, the hydraulic, the active suspension. And they were sitting up like a tractor in the first video you might have seen. And evidently whatever controls them, I presume the hydraulic fluid that controls them, they were both buggered, and they both had to be replaced. So that was a little more pricey than I would have liked. And the brakes were done, but the brakes actually weren't too bad. It was only pads, it was only the front, and we did them, and the brake light went off. So actually, the bill, throwing the bill away, the bill itself wasn't that bad. He did say whoever changed the oil on it previously had put a very cheap filter on, was actually coming apart, and at risk of some of the paper filter actually getting into the engine. So what these people are thinking, I have no idea, but oil was done, the accumulator, left front accumulator, right front accumulator, suspension oil, obviously, presumably that has to be redone after they do this sort of stuff. The 8 lifter oil feed pipes was actually 9, and brakes and brake sensors, all up about $3,000. So, not a catastrophe in the overall scheme of things, given that I think I bought it okay, and this sort of stuff always is the same when you buy a new car. I think you have to, as Harry calls it, fiddle with them. You've got to bring them up to speed slowly, try and find the bits and pieces, and do that. So far The service actually gone very well, driving fantastically afterwards. Engine noise is gone, wheels are on the way, have to buy some tyres for those. We'll continue to look for that, I guess the AMG Hammer style wheels, but at the moment I've got some Ronals on the way. So as I say, I think mostly it's come together pretty well so far. There's still some bits and pieces that definitely need attention, which I'll get to, but thus far pretty good, and I'll take it for a drive and show everybody. Oh, that's what else I did. I couldn't help myself. The exhaust on these things is actually fairly muted, and I would say that the one thing that I've noticed most in this one versus the coupe I had, the W140 coupe, which was a beautifully smooth and refined ride. This one is actually quite sporting in character. It really does feel like a completely different car, except for the exhaust, which was virtually silent. So I took it to High Tech and had a chat to them. And the first thing we've done, I can't help myself if I can, is you'll see, hopefully there, we just took out the rear muffler. And so, the typical, rear muffler delete. It's still got another muffler resonator further up there, but just took it out to see what it sounds like. And in fairness, it doesn't sound that good. I'll start it up in a second and you can hear it. But, it sounds like someone's got a car with a hole in the muffler, I'm afraid. At higher revs, it actually sounds pretty good. But otherwise, it sounds a bit agricultural. So I'll definitely have to apply some attention to trying to think of what we can do to the exhaust to give it a little bit more sporting nature that matches the sound, that matches how it drives, because it is quite a sporting drive. As I say, the most notable difference when you get the car is its sporting character. I mean, it really feels much more lively. It must have a much shorter wheelbase than the coupe, the hardtop coupe that I had. And for instance, I noticed myself putting it into second gear all the time, which I wouldn't have done in 2 or 3 years of ownership of the CL, but because it feels like it wants you to use the gears actually, and really a much more sporty feel to it. There's the exhaust, the old rear muffler delete exhaust. I hope you can hear that all right. As I say, at low revs it really sounds terrible. It sounds cheap and horrible, like someone just put a hole in like it's got a hole in the exhaust. But then when you get on it, it sounds great and really fun. There's the policeman going the other way, probably going, what's that idiot doing? That guy back there had one of those C63 Benz coupes. His exhaust sounds a lot better than mine, but I suspect his exhaust obviously cost a little bit more than mine. Some bloke taking a saw and chopping it off. Welcome to Sydney's beachside suburbs. Yeah, I've got a SL500 that sounds a bit like a mid-60s Ford Mustang with a hole in the exhaust. I'm blind. There you have it, folks. Pretty bloody good, isn't it?